Hello, hello. It's Teresa, and I'm here at. We're just gonna giggle because this is totally not us to be sitting here doing this interview, but we're gonna keep it casual and real. Liz is a longtime friend. We met through Tiger Lily. Susan Naylor is an artist in Cincinnati who brought us together. She was running Tiger Lily Press for a while on her own, and she decided that instead of one person running Tiger Lily, that 3 people could do it together. And so she found 3 recently graduated MFA students, Master of Fine Arts students, and that's how Liz and I met. Yep. And we have been friends ever since then. We think it was around 1998. So Liz was there for, I don't know, 3 of my pregnancies, having to kids, showing up at art things with a big belly. But we've stayed friends all this time, and she is now living in Louisville, Kentucky, and I'm up in Cincinnati. And so she's got this amazing studio. You'll see some photos. I'll take some pictures and you'll see some of those. We're not gonna go on the move with this video. We'll just stay here. But so she's had this amazing studio because I've always told her she is like one of the, not the only, but like she always impressed me because she was like one of the only working artists. Like she literally would hold a job and she was making art. If she wasn't working at a paying job, 9 to 5 kind of thing, she would be making art. And tell me a little bit about, like, so you're a teacher.
I'm a teacher, teach high school art.
Yeah.
Just finished year 25.
Wow.
And I finished graduate school with 2 degrees, the MFA and the MAD. So what was really beautiful was that I started both careers at the same time. So it was, teach during the week and make it into the studio on the weekends and during vacations. And so it's been a really good balance for me. Whether it's in balance, both practices, that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
But I know how to do both at the same time.
But you did it. You know, like there was an artist that came into Tiger Lily one year, Tony Fitzpatrick, I think was his name. Do you remember? And he made a comment when he was doing a demo that said, "You're only an artist if you wake up and you have to make art." And so I literally, we've been talking, so we've been together like for a couple hours already. We're almost talked out. So we'll see what you get out of this interview. Yeah. But we've been talking about worth and how to decide if we're worthy. And he made a comment way back when that, you know, you're only an artist if you wake up every day and you have to make art. And that wasn't me at the time. Like I wasn't waking up, like I totally consider myself an artist, but I wasn't waking up every day making art. And so I thought immediately, I don't count as much.
Which is ridiculous. And that's the hard part about the voices in your head. Because you hear things and you latch onto it. I had a professor in graduate school who said, art will always be there. So when you did take a break, you would go back. So I always had that in the back of my head. But I also had, well, you're only an artist if you're doing this full time. And so, you know, I thought, okay, I'm making art. I'm doing it on the side, whatever that means. And I'm teaching because I understood enough to know that I needed health insurance and that I'm really practical and I wanted to make sure I was doing all of that. Only to come to find when I did practice art full time, it stressed me out. And I was always worried about money. And I went to I worked with a photographer. He took photos of my art. And I was like, I'm beginning to see that everybody has a gig. And he's like, yes, Liz, we all have gigs to make the art happen. And I was like, dang it, I wish someone had told me that earlier, because here I was feeling less than because I wanted that stability. When I realized I actually do my work better, my artwork better.
If you're not working in
if I'm not worried about it.
Yeah,
you know?
That's really true.
So.
It's the things we don't learn in art school, right? Like maybe it's changed by now. We've been out for a long time, but maybe the story has changed and I hope so. It's better.
Yeah.
So anyway, I forget if I mentioned already, but yes, so we are in Louisville, Kentucky. This is where Liz lives now, and she's got their garage. Her husband is an architect, and he's very handy apparently because he's made this amazing garden outside the studio. It's like the idyllic like artist place here. She's got a beautiful house and a little garden out, actually a big garden. And they've taken the garage and turned it into like this really nice studio. And like I said, I will go around and take pictures and you'll get to see sort of a grander picture of the studio. But I always told myself I wanted to come down and see her studio and talk to her.
Such a treat.
And so it's summertime, she's not teaching, and I'm on break. So I was like, I'm coming down, Liz. Are you good for it? So anyway, also, side note, she lives in this cute little part of Louisville where we got to actually just walk to lunch and walk back. We crossed over the train tracks, and it was like, again, idyllic.
A little village.
So anyway. All right, so about a year ago, it's probably been longer now, I put a post out saying, hey, I want some guest bloggers. I want to feature someone for my blog that's a voice other than myself. And I also knew that there were... I wanted to hear voices from other people. Put that out on social media. I got 7 women. 7 women that all said, I'll do it. It was like the quickest response of any social media post I've ever gotten. I know. Interesting, right?
Yeah.
Maybe we should talk about that at some point.
That.
But what happened was I did a couple last year. And of course, we all do this, right? Like you give yourself this big, like, I'm going to do it. It'll be 1 a month and I'll be done in 7 months. No, it's a year and a half later and I'm finally getting to Liz and she's number 4.
Oh, okay.
She's fourth of 7. And so, side note, one of the reasons that it didn't go sooner was because I said yes to something. I said yes to a big job, which was doing the newsletter for a local women's group. It was a year-long commitment. And it turned into like, I don't know, 15 hours a month.
Wow.
And by saying yes to that, I realized that took a lot of my like mental, like writing, newsletter kind of information time in a month. And then my guest blogs just kept sitting on the shelf. So I just finished my year of that. Literally, my last newsletter was July and I'm like, perfect. Nice. I'm back on. Liz is on break. I'm going to come see her and we're going to have a fun visit. And we're going to kind of talk about her blog here. So I'm not going to read you the blog, of course. The blog will be on the blog. But while I was here, Liz decided to do a topic on trust. And she knows what I do. I run SUBTLE Potency now, which is a Recovering Your Innate Body Wisdom. It's a year-long program studying Ayurvedic habits and how to really just get your days in alignment so that you are kind of like clear and focused for all the things that you want to do in your life and that you're healthier along the way and all those kinds of things. Yeah. So anyway, I'm going to ask her a few questions just to get some more information out of her so that you can get not just the written form, but you get a little bit of conversation out of this too. So do you want to give us just a little background? Are you able to remember why you chose trust? Or do you want?
You'll read it in the blog, but I was thinking in terms of I was having a hard time making decisions, and they weren't big decisions. I say it in the blog. It's like what socks to wear, where to go to dinner, and I realized if I just listened to myself, if I just trusted what I said, what came to me first. That I would be following my heart or I'd be doing what I was meant to be doing. And I don't mean to make it big and all out there. I just mean that there's so much self-doubt, thinking about consequences, thinking about, well, if I do this, then that will happen. Obviously, consequences. And I was making decisions take so much longer. And I realized I could practice working with, or I don't want to use the word trust. That's why I'm pausing for a second there. But I'm thinking, if I just listen to myself, that it would be okay, and it would be a good response or a good answer that I would give. So does that help?
It does.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to do what I usually do, which is ramble, which is funny because we both, I tend to say I ramble a lot, and you put it in here. I wanted to be careful not to that I wasn't going to ramble. And we just spent the last hour talking about creativity and vata energy and how it's dispersing energy, and it like sends things in all different directions. And that's really what a ramble is. It's when like the brain is just, to me, it's like the brain is just going and it's taking one thought and it's going to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next.
Yeah.
But what we're talking about is like, how do we focus, and how do we, again, and then back to the trust piece, like we were talking about just at lunch. And, you know, Ayurvedically, this gets into Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. And like the Vata is the creative energy, and the Pitta is the actual putting something into practice and doing it. And then Kapha is like the trust and the knowing that shows up once the thing is good to go. And it's like, it feels good and it feels right. Right. Then we're like, I know that was the right thing to do. Right. But so we're talking about today, and your blog kind of talks about like the process to get to that trust, and how it's challenging. Decision fatigue comes up a lot.
Isn't that amazing? I forgot about that. I mean, I know that sounds silly. My husband and I were talking about that. You know, just that you make so many decisions during a day. You know, why are you talking about what do you want for dinner at dinner time? Because you don't have the brain capacity. Which I know may seem like a small thing, but can become a big discussion.
No, it can't.
However, I think what happened was I was trying to figure out how to trust myself more, my just innate reactions to something, not judgments, but how am I going to choose to do something? And I was working with one of my yoga instructors. She and I did monthly hour-long kind of coaching sessions, learning about the goddesses and female power. And one of the things that she came up was like, well, you should just, when you know, go with your gut. So if you're looking for a marker and you pick one, that's the one you pick, and that's okay. You know, you can always choose a different one later, but go with the one that you pick. Or lately I've been doing this with the meditations that I do. I do a morning meditation about 10 minutes long, nothing too stressing me out, but I have a whole bunch bookmarked, and I will look at the little thumbnails and go, this one, and I don't question it. I've already got them picked as bookmarks. I know I like them all. There's no loss. You know, if I don't like this one, or if it doesn't speak to me that day, guess what? Press another button and do another, you know, meditation. So it's really helped me at that small level to then take it to some bigger decisions and understand that I have the knowledge. You know, I'm old enough, I'm experienced enough to follow that choice. I don't think I'm going to make that sounds bad, I say that, knock on wood, wherever it is. I don't think I'm going to do something that's going to harm me to any great, I might have a regret, but that's a different
topic. Right, exactly.
So it's been really fun to go, oh, I'm going to choose this and follow it, and then know that there's going to be another choice to make.
You know? There will be plenty, right?
So, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm tempted to go into like your decision making in your art making process, but I think I'm going to pause that. Okay. I'm going to read here. Let's see. Liz talks about when we met and we both finished graduate school. As directors of the print studio, we talked often and discovered that we had the same sense of personal discovery, practical and curious. And I think that to me, when I read that again today, because I've read this a couple times, and then I, came back and visited it before I came to see you, and I really love that idea of like, this must be why we're still friends, because we have enough in common, and the way that we sort of view life, or there's something about shared language that I've learned through Ayurveda. Is a really amazing thing that when, in Ayurveda is based with a lot of Sanskrit words. And so when I started learning Ayurveda, it was a lot of new words. but everyone I was in community with was learning those same words at the same time, right? And so we became able to like show up to each other in a conversation, like the people in the community, and we could just jump in and dive deep right away.
Interesting.
Because we had a shared language and we already were sort of studying the same thing. And so then if I take that to you and I feel like you nailed that here, even in that sentence about like recognizing that early on, that there was a sameness in some of the things, you know, approaches that we have. Again, you use the word practical and curious. I love that because the curiosity we've been talking about, right, the last hour, that creativity and curiosity and like, I don't want to ever stop learning,
right?
All of that kind of stuff, but grounded in practicality and not so much that we can't like function in a life and make an income and like have a house and, you know, we're not like homeless artists. We're like artists who have nice livings and homes, and like we're finding both.
Right.
Yeah.
And curiosity implies risk. You know, to some extent, if you're curious about something, it means you probably don't know a lot about it at that moment in time. Or I wonder what happens when I do this. And that risk is what puts you into a level of discomfort, which is good, because then that moves you to comfort, which means you've learned it, and then you can move on to something else, and you can move on to something else. So that kind of runs with the trust too, in that you take a risk. You certainly don't want to feel unsafe. However, you have to trust that it's going to move you forward.
You know, and so I am going to jump into the art piece now, because I think that life, like, you know, I'm sure we're not the first people that are going to talk about this, but this idea of like, when you have a life, you are going to go through life and make a bunch of decisions, and you don't know what life's going to look like at the end.
Dang, yeah.
Right? And so art is the same thing. Like, we can have an idea, it happens to me a million times, I'm sure many artists, if not all, you have an idea in your head of what you're going to make. You don't know what that end piece is going to look like, and there are risks taken in that in the art making process, right? And so that just to say, you know, I look around at this. She's got this studio is packed with unique pieces of art. Like, we're printmakers, which usually means you've got like 20 of the same thing. No, Liz does. The entire place is filled with.
It's all one of a kind.
It's all one of a kind stuff, but you use repeatable patterns and exchange them and move them and just play.
So printmaking, it's all technique. I mean, it is technique. It's a skill you can master, and you addition it so that you make more than one. That was the whole reason for printmaking, and printmaking allowed for literacy, and you know, there are all these, you know, it moved culture forward. However, for me, I'm not concerned that it be a print. I want it to be the image I want it to be, and printmaking is the tool to get me to the image I want, the textures and the colors that I want. I love that idea of the happy accident, and also, you know, a print is backwards, so I can't tell you how many times, even 30 some odd years later, I still print something wrong. But I want to use the technique to be surprised. So printmakers tend to know what the image is going to look like before they even make it, whereas I don't know what the image looks like. I know I want to use these plates and these colors, and then from there I'm trusting the process.
That's where I was going to bring it.
To use the word trusting.
I was going to bring it back to that, because as we've talked about that, and this is what you wrote about, and I sit in your studio now, I'm like, that's all you do. Is you are trusting the process. But we talked again about like practice and iteration and like doing something over and over. So now you've got your system that you can trust. So you can trust that system in your art making. But I love the idea that like each layer that you add takes a level of that trust and curiosity,
Yeah.
like, oh, what's this going to do?
And they all don't work out.
Yeah.
I don't think my rate of return is very high. You know, I don't get 100% success. If I get 75%, you know, I'll work on 10 or 12 pieces at once.
Gotcha.
And so I'll print a certain color and a certain plate on a day. And that's how the work becomes series, you know, because you'll see the repetition of color and imagery. I allow for that failure, I guess is the word, or the piece that doesn't come out the way I wanted it to, or see, I obviously have a vision in mind.
You do. You do.
And I accept it. Whereas in life, when something doesn't go right, am I willing to accept that?
Yeah.
But I trusted the process in printmaking. I trust the process.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get frustrated, but sorry, I'm trying to make these comparisons. Because
no, but don't you feel like it's kind of
coming
to, like, don't you feel like it's coming?
Yeah.
Like the conversation we've had all day.
Yeah.
About like, it's kind of coming out right now in our conversation a little bit. It feels like it to me.
Yeah, no, I think our conversation has started at A, and we're like right around W or something. We've made it through. Well, okay, to go back to the blog, I talk a little bit about intention. So intention, you've got some grounding, you've got some planning. With intention, you do practice. And then you also have to trust that it's going to happen. You know, I mean, you kind of have to get out of the way to make it happen, or to make the next step. And then you have to be able to observe that you've made the step. Because you just observed that with the artwork, that the pieces are all different, and it's this process that I do that's grounded in the technique, but that it moves away from that. And for me to hear that, that's my step away to get the reflection and go, oh, okay, I mean, it's validating. Yeah. It's validating, and then I can keep working with this process. Yeah. You know, I didn't need you to say that, but I do. I mean, of course we want people to say that. Yeah. You know, we want the support, and we want
that's what I'm thinking too. You know. I mean, that's the benefit of critique. Right. It's like the solo artist that's in their studio by themselves all day is okay. That's good. Right. But also then we need to step outside of that and go like, hey, give me some input. Let's talk about this. What do you see? This is what I intended. Right. Is that intention showing? Right. Or not? Yeah. And that's where, like we touched a little bit on community and the importance of, you know, relationships and stuff like that. So that's really important, you know, in art making as in life. Yeah. Right. And so I guess what this is really coming down to, obviously, is like, you know, mirroring, you know, what's going on in your life and the conversations we've had and what's going on in my life with, you know, the art making process, which is so beautiful. Like, we're so lucky that
this is why we do it, I think, in some regard. Yeah. I interrupted you.
No, I think you're right.
I feel we're searching for something, and in creating, we get to live that parallel, and remembering to go back and reflect to see the parallel, I think is that's what I've been missing. You know, to go, oh, I've been practicing this trust in this room for a lot longer than I thought. You kind of elucidated it for me, you know, articulated it for me. Yeah. And to kind of go, okay. Yeah. What's the next risk you want to take? What's the next thing you want to trust? You know, and you certainly, we talked about you know, my work, the style, it's recognizable. Yeah. However, how do you keep growing it? You know, not another circle again. Yeah. You know, like you want to.
How do you? What keeps that alive for you?
I'm very aware that I've worked with the circle for a long time. Okay. So that's one of the reasons it's been shifting, like intentionally shifting. But also I've noticed the curiosity has shifted to more about energy. Like I was thinking of the circle as the enso and the repeated closure of a circle. Well, what if you don't make it a closed circle, but you've got the wave of energy, or energetic wave, I guess that's it. So then exploring the wave makes me think water. Water makes me think light reflecting on water. Oh, I'm interested in that. So the work is becoming more about landscape, which I think we all relate to.
Yeah.
I think we all have some place in our minds that we go to, and we also have a place of security or safety. We also have a place we dream of, and that becomes, I want to say that becomes trust in some way. Sorry, I feel like I'm being cliche because I was trying to get myself back to the word trust. But I think there's this level of when I am in a space that I feel safe, I trust. And so if that space is a print that I'm working on, then I take the risk to do, well, let's just see what yellow will do. Let's just see what this will do. And if it doesn't work, oh well, it's a piece of paper. You know?
Do you think if water becomes the wave and the water gets more and more ingrained in what you're doing, do you see your color palette changing at all? Is that weird?
Yes. No.
Kind of.
Yeah, no, I totally get that, because I started the water series last summer when I was up at Zygote Press, and I started, typically, you know, you start with your lightest color. So I've always start with yellow. But the prints get really yellow. So I was like, I'm going to start with blue and magenta. Well, there's a reason you start with yellow.
I found it out. You were reminded. You already knew this. But.
But the colors mix so differently. So then it becomes almost like a theory question. You know, you get a little bit of science in there of like, well, what color can I put on top of a blue to brighten it or darken it or shift it? And it's been a really big challenge. And I'm learning something new.
Exactly. I was going to
like
say that's how it's not dull.
Right.
Like the next thing.
And the thing is, okay, I'm working on this series where I started with magenta and blue. It may not be where I start next time, but I now have that knowledge, and it's part of the practice.
Right.
So I can take another risk. I can make another choice. So
nice. Okay, this is cool. I know. And I'm a little worried about my phone dying because I didn't charge it when we had lunch. So we'll try to wrap it up soon so we don't get cut off. This is going to throw us to X. You know, we went from A, started to, but we started earlier today talking about your desire for flow in some way. Didn't we? Didn't that come up today? And so in Ayurveda, of course, like a wave is water. Water is an element that is all about flow.
Okay.
And so the flow comes when things are in the right alignment or set up properly or like practiced enough that like now you can get to flow because it's going well, or do you know what I mean? And it's like it's flowing. It's, you know, we talk about that as artists a lot too, like, right, I'm in the flow or I'm blocked. Right? Am I blocked? So like, is it a dam that's blocking, you know, or no, it's like it's a river that's just like going on its own. And so, I just think of that when you talk about waves and your desire to get in that state of flow.
The light bulb just went. So for years, that circle was talking about balance. And, you know, balance was kind of the word back then. And I really am aging myself. But it seemed like we were all struggling or working towards having a balance in our life, you know, work-life balance and everything. And then it has progressed from, it's never going to be in balance.
Right. Yeah.
Well, why not it be in flow? So that sometimes this is rising high, sometimes this is coming low, and you understand that ebb and flow is the true nature of life.
Mm.
So the reason the water and the energetic line, that wave is our energy. Okay, energetic line. Sorry, edit that out. It's the way we live. And sometimes we loop back, and sometimes we loop back again, and it becomes like a spiral. But that rhythm of that ebb and flow is the water, and that is the circadian, right? I mean, that's it.
Yeah, right.
So
Exactly.
why not work with that? Go straight to the source and do the water, and do the way the water comes up on the beach. And most recently I went to the beach a couple weeks ago, and just recording the sound of it, and how quickly my heart will slow and get in rhythm with the water, with the sound, and the health benefits of that. So how can I put that health benefit in the print? How can I get that into the imagery? So I don't have that clear-cut plan because I don't know.
Yeah, right.
But I'll know it when I see it.
Yeah, and it's part of the exploration.
And it's part of the exploration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that. That's
So.
great. I love that. Okay, let's look in here real quickly. Okay, I do want to touch base on the other thing that's interesting to you right now, which is the death doula piece. So you had your sister passed away 25 years ago, and I know that's really been,
can you believe it?
Super impactful, of course. And so just
Yeah.
say whatever you want to say. Before I completely turn it back over to you, you had the joy. You were teaching on the joy for a while. So I think about joy, purpose, flow, art, grief comes in there along the way as well.
Yeah.
And now this death doula as like a potential next exploration for you.
Yeah.
So just talk
So
a
I
little
made
bit.
this goofy face while I was talking about that. So it's really fascinating. She died 25 years ago. I was 31. And the impact and how it has changed how I view life has been phenomenal. And along the way, I just didn't know it. I mean, I know that sounds really like, well, duh. But you live your life and you keep going day to day. And I had this experience caretaking for her. My whole family, we all took turns taking care of her. We did a really good job, I think, taking care of her. And then I wanted to make sure that I did that with my parents. I don't know how well I did on that, but I have no regrets. I did what I could, and however, I feel that this journey to be a death doula started back 20, when she was diagnosed. And I didn't see that connection until about a year ago. And it's been this journey of understanding the ebb and the flow, and there are moments of grief, and there is happiness, and there is joy. And joy is a moment, a fleet, a spark, or whatever. And not to get too into it, but we celebrate birth, and we have this moment of joy, this potential of a life ahead. Where is the joy in having a good death and feeling loved and feeling held as we move on in the journey? And I use journey twice. I think for me there is that energy continues. So it's not that I have to have this belief in a religion, but there's this belief that this energy keeps moving. So how can I share in that? Well, I think I can help people find that moment of joy in a very sad time. Because you do, obviously you're feeling loss. but there is an energy, and I think that's where the art and the doula and the joy and the energy all come together, and it's trusting that it all comes together somehow. I'm not sure how, but it's the trust where it feels right, but I'm not sure what it looks like.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
I get you. And I think I do want to round this up here, like, again, so we don't get cut off. You and I could talk for 3 more hours. Sadly, we'll be exhausted. But to be a witness to you as a friend, a lifetime, like a long time friend, I have no doubt, like there is zero doubt that Liz Foley is gonna succeed in whatever you do, right? And so back to that observing piece, like as I observe the way you've lived your life and the choices that I've seen you make and like the moves that you've made and like the career you chose and your dedication to your art and your dedication to those puppies that showed up unexpectedly in the fall and all that kind of stuff. So, just as sort of like an outside last like pat on the back, like you got this girl kind of thing, like, I have zero doubt, I have all the trust in the world in you that whatever you want to happen is going to happen.
Thank you.
So,
wow.
And I think that it's nice to hear that, that's what we need. Get back to that validating.
It's support, and it's understanding that like the daily feeling good about the choices you've made, and that your life is moving forward in whatever way you define forward, that's the success. So I appreciate it. I mean, that's the part that goes, I'm not here alone, I'm in community. And I've got your back. And whatever you're doing and whatever steps you're taking, I'm here.
I know. Thank you for that. I know I can always call you up when I need like some encouraging words. I can easily call you up. And so, we live in this like online world. We're not in the same city anymore and stuff. But, like, again, I know that you're watching what I'm doing. That I'm the reverse, whatever that is.
Thanks for making the trip down.
Yeah. And the last thing I think that it's just important that conversation, like the value of conversation and being able to have deep conversations, being able to be like expressive to another human, to be a good listener. We've both been such great listeners to each other, I think, always. And that's why I value your friendship so much, because I know, oh my gosh, I'm going to get Liz's full attention when I see her. And I know I'm going to give her mine too. And again, back to that shared language piece where we can show up and we can go deep right away. Right? Like when I showed up at your door, it was almost like you knew. You're like, okay, we know we're going to dive in quick. Maybe we should slow
Let's hydrate.
Like, what do we do to not just dive in the deep end right away? Back to the water analogy. But so anyway, I'm so grateful that I got to see you this week. And hopefully the video will turn out, and hopefully you will all read the blog post. And absolutely follow Liz if you don't already. Elizabeth Foley, Foley Prints.
Foley Prints. FoleyPrints.com and Foley Prints on Instagram.
Yeah, and tell just a teeny bit, like, so they can find prints and what else? You sell some other stuff?
Oh yeah, so I've got prints that I'm selling, but I've also got note cards and gift wrap I'm trying to work on, and hopefully there'll be some things functional pieces that rotate in and out. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah. And what we talked about today is you're still an artist if you're making fine art or if you're making usable, functional art.
Yes.
Both count. Yeah, absolutely. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks. We did it. Yay. All right. See you guys. See you later.